Okay, Libra, this is going to be your reading for February of 2020. And I've got to tell you, like we told all the other signs, that we are in, Mercury is going into retrograde on the 17th, and it's going to be very emotional. It's going to be in Pisces. And you can find out more information about that online. But we are going to pull some cards and some runes and let you know what you can expect over the month into March.
Hello. That was very strange. Runes, as a rule, don't tend to jump. However, I had a rune that jumped and it flung itself out of the bag. And it's very, very, very far away from all the other runes, which is always interesting. When that
Well, why don't you
happens,
start with that one?
huh? Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's what I'm
okay.
working on. When that happens, when I have a rune that's, like I've got a group of runes over here, and then I've got one rune that's like out, way out in the middle of nowhere. I tend to think of that rune as being very removed and kind of the energy of it circling around everything else and kind of exerting an influence over the entirety of the thing. So what you have is this rune right here. This is the one that jumped. And it is Dagas, which is the rune that deals with vision, light, clarity, understanding. But it's not like a total understanding of stuff. It's a point between light and dark. So it's like things become clear, but like if you're out in the dawn or in the dusk, you can see shapes in front of you, but you can't really see the textures or the colors or something. And so that's what this is like. It's like having the beginnings of understanding or clarity. And then again, the fact that it's so far away from the rest of the runes is an indication that it's like you're seeing stuff, you're understanding stuff, but it almost feels very removed from everything else right now. I don't think it's like you're gathering pieces here and there, but I don't think you've got them enough to put them into the puzzle yet to understand what's going on.
Okay. I'm going to start by saying, Libra, you're an air sign, which means you're very intellectual. And one of the common attributes of Libra is the ability to weigh out information. They're always weighing out information and before they make a decision. The good news with that is you usually make solid decisions. The bad news with that, sometimes you miss opportunities because you take so long to make a decision and you let opportunities. But where you've been, which is a real, almost a contrast, is the fire sign, the King of Wands, which is creativity and intuition. And that's where you've been for a while. So you're the King of Wands is not always aware of his surroundings because his creativity is just taken over, and he's got to create, create, create. And there's fire, there's passion. Sometimes it indicates there's a relationship that comes in, and you can't get enough of this other person. So your common sense is sort of out the window.
The rune that I've got here, which was in its visible position, is the rune for fire. And it's in its upright position, which deals with massive clarity. It deals with creativity. The Kano deals with both the aspects of fire, where it's like there's the very destructive aspects of fire, but then again there's also things like the phoenix rising from the ashes. Okay, so you're in a position of kind of, it's like this one has been coming upright, and it's like I said, it's pretty much its upright position, which indicates that you have come through a very destructive period, probably, where things have been very, very shaky. And this one is coming into its upright now. And so it's like sort of some of that is clearing off, and it's allowing you the ability to create and to see more clearly.
The Hierophant is a card that came up. My sense about this is that you have started questioning. You've come up with some new questions that you don't have answers for. And it's time to seek counsel on that these aren't things you're necessarily going to figure out yourself. It's absolutely okay to ask other people, ask the experts. You don't have to be an expert in everything. Perhaps it's a spiritual advisor, perhaps it's a good friend, perhaps it's a professor, perhaps it's a minister, perhaps it's a parent. A parent.
It's a parent to me.
It's a parent to me. But seeking out some wise counsel to give you some information, because inquiring minds want to know, and that's what the air signs are. We're inquiring minds.
Well, and I'd say you hit it dead on. This little dandy right here is Manas, and it is in its face down position, which means it's unseen or subconscious, and it deals with the self. And without this sounding crude, your little self is laying there with your little legs in the air. You're not able to get a grip on anything. You're in your reverse position right now. And so it's like your view of yourself has changed or is in the process of changing. You've run into some things. I think you've made some discoveries about yourself recently that don't fit with who you picture yourself as or who you see yourself as. And so it's like you've kind of got an identity confusion going on right now. And so when he's saying that you need to seek some clarity, I think that it's clarity about who am I really, you know? And it wouldn't hurt to do exactly like he was saying, talk to friends, talk to family, talk to, religious counselor. If you have nobody to do that, try to seek out a therapist that can help you to kind of get your motivations and the internal stuff a little bit more easily.
The card that came up is a Magician card, which indicates that the counsel that you're needing is of the highest self. So it's going to have to be someone that's much more on the spiritual level. You have this information already, but you need some kind of catalyst, some kind of something to trigger you to open up your mind a little bit more. You're being forced into a very spiritual time, which can be very conflicting for the air sign because we are so intellectual that, we have to see it to believe it. But this is a time of having to enact your faith and whatever you believe in. I mean, it's not even necessarily a traditional thing, but it's getting information downloaded from the universe so you can use it here on the earth.
And the thing about that is that it is bringing about massive change for you. This rune is Hago, and it deals with complete change. It's the equivalent of the Tower card in the Tarot, which is a total cleansing of everything that's come before in order to be able to rebuild. So whatever this is that you're dealing with currently, it's really kind of shaking you to your foundations in a way. It's like you're being challenged now to accept new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of looking at things. And some of them may conflict directly with things that you have always just accepted as truth. And so it is shaking you because it's like, well, if I can't, they always said that red was red, but now I found out red is green. It's like, it's very confusing. And again, I think that's why this rune that jumped, the one between the light and clarity, I think that's why it's way out here, is because it's like you're really going to be struggling to pull this stuff together into a package that you find palatable, into a package that you find acceptable, to be able to just fit everything into your regular beliefs and ideas about life.
You're going into a spiritual puberty. I'm trying to think of a gentle way to put this. You have a certain belief system that you've held on to, and you believe that you've become the expert in this belief system. But the reality is that what you believe may not be your truth. It may be stuff that other people told you. And you're now coming to a point where your truth is getting really different. You're going to be amazed at what you're actually capable of doing. Up to this point, it's just been a lip service that you pay. You've done a lot of reading, a lot of research, and you've probably gone to readers. I mean, you're here watching us. You're doing all these things, and so you think but you're about to know. You're going from being the student to being an active participant in your spiritual path.
Yep. One of the things that's going on here, and at this point in the reading, it probably is almost self-explanatory. This rune is Ing, and it deals with beginnings and endings. So my sense is that you are at the tail end of one karmic cycle, a large one. And my sense is that you're moving into another one. The nice thing is what I see here is this new karmic cycle is actually going to be, I think, once you get yourself fitted into it, once you get where it's comfortable, you can shrug it on like a robe or something. I think you're going to find that this one is more gentle or easier on you than the previous thing or where you're at right now. I think that it's going to smooth out and you're going to be like, oh, this feels okay.
Well, it's interesting. You just described the Hermit, which is the card that came up. The Hermit is a spiritual teacher. You are going from the spiritual student to the spiritual teacher, and the teacher always learns more than the student. It's like when the student is ready, the teacher appears, but it's also when the teacher is ready, the students will appear. And you're going to have people approaching you and challenging everything you think you know. And that's when you're going to get into this really powerful time. And once you get used to being the teacher, it's going to fit you like a fine tailored suit.
And just to top off what Seth just said, this rune is a rune of a working union. So as he said, you're going to find that slipping into this thing of being the teacher instead of the student, it's going to totally fit you. It's like, I think you've gone through something that was pretty difficult for you, or you're in the process of ending that out. But the thing is it's like the harshness of the lesson has made it where it's like you're going to have a lot more ability to empathize with others. You're going to be a lot more capable of understanding where they're coming from. And so this really, it's like when you manage to piece all of these things together and get the actual clarity, not this kind of vague clarity, I think that this lesson is going to end up having been a very, very powerful one. But from that point, you're going to be pretty much working like a well-oiled machine. I mean, it's just going to be like a real easy flow for you.
Your challenge with all this, the Queen of Cups, is learning compassion. You spend a lot of your life having a rather thick skin and not having a lot of empathy for other people's. I think sometimes we feel like we do, but the reality is we really don't connect. But you're having to learn how to be very compassionate with your thoughts, actions, and deeds.
And part of that compassion needs to be internalized. That compassion needs to be
Towards
given
self.
to yourself. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Going back to this rune here, I think a lack of compassion for yourself is what's kind of landed you in this position of being like out of balance with yourself. So you need to allow yourself, kind of accept yourself and be like, I'm okay. I'm not that bad. So, anyway, thank you so much, Libra, for joining us. I hope this has been of use to you, and good luck on your new spiritual path. You're doing great.